And I was like, okay, so what other options do I have? And she hands me that sex drive pamphlet and was like, if you don't want to take this, then I can't do anything for you. Your pain must not be that bad. There's nothing I can do for you. And I was just like in shock. Like this doctor who I've been going to for years, who knows my pain, who actually did know my history with having a blood clot and then still recommended birth control. And I just felt like so like pushed off, like, oh, your pain must not be that bad if you're not going to get on this prescription. But I also knew that there had to be more, there had to be something else. And so I took the pamphlet and I walked to my car. And I just remember like feeling like I was walking on air. Like this just can't be real. Like this isn't real life. This isn't happening to me. And I sat in my car and I just started ugly crying. I was so frustrated. I felt so lost. I'm in the freaking health and fitness industry, so why don't I feel like I know what to do? I'm very in tune with my body. So what in the world is like happening here? And I let myself have a pity party for about like 5, 10 minutes in my car, just like ugly crying, snot everywhere. And then finally I was like, you know what? I work in the health and fitness industry. I can figure this out. I work with a lot of amazing professionals, and I'm going to figure this out. I'm not going on a prescription that I believe would just mask my symptoms and not really get to the root cause of why I'm feeling how I feel. And so, as I'm driving back into work that day, I just start thinking, like, okay, who can I reach out to? What can I do? What are my next steps? And I go into action mode, which action actually, like, that's me. And immediately when I get back into the gym, I sent an email to one of the registered dietitians that I've worked closely with other clients. And I was like, hey, this is what I've been diagnosed with. Can I hire you? I really want to figure this out. And she messages back and she's like, perfect. We start communicating and she's like, okay, here's what I want you to do. We're going to take a cortisol test. We're going to do a couple other lab tests, really like look at that as well as this other blood work and your diagnosis, and then we'll come up with a plan. And so I took a cortisol spit test, which was super fun. And then I took all of these other labs, and it came back that my cortisol was crazy. My adrenals were out of control. I was just like inflamed like crazy. And she was like, first things first, we're going to calm down your inflammation. And so we went on a pretty strict diet. I actually do not recommend it unless you are specifically working with somebody. But we went on a FODMAP diet, and I was on this diet for 2 months as I was lowering my inflammation. Meanwhile, I also hired a company to do my training. I was really into CrossFit before being diagnosed with PCOS and endometriosis. Like I loved it. I loved the high intensity. I was working out like 7 days a week. I actually felt really guilty when I wasn't working out, which is like a whole other thing. I do believe that is what caused my PCOS, but I hired them and they were like, okay, your heart rate is like out of control. It is skyrocketing. It is terrible. We're actually going to have you stop doing any type of high intensity. And when you're lifting, you need to stay in your zone one and zone two. So it is so hard to stay in your zone one and zone two for your heart rate. And if I started dipping into even zone three of my heart rate, I had to stop, let it come back down. And if it kept happening, my workout was done. So we had some very strict rules around my workouts and how I had to approach them in order to help my inflammation come down. Meanwhile, I was also on a bunch of supplements to help with the inflammation, to help with my pain, to really start just tackling all of this. So I took this approach of tackling my PCOS and endometriosis symptoms through nutrition, through fitness, and through my lifestyle. And then, unfortunately, and also kind of fortunately for me, 2020 hit. March of 2020 rolled around, and I was furloughed from my job at the gym, which was also a scary time. From September, October, November, I was really focused on this diet. And then I had a couple more months where I was still really working through the fitness piece and what my diet looks like after that FODMAP. And after 2020 of March hits, this gave me time to really implement everything like full bodied. I was able to, really focus on my workouts, really focus on my stress management, really focus on my diet. And even though that was a very scary time because I was furloughed, I didn't know what was going to happen with my job. I was making unemployment, but I wasn't making money. I was really focused on just healing, and it was honestly a blessing in disguise. And I had 3 months where I was furloughed from my job where I just could focus on me. On top of that, it was like also kind of cool. I got to hang out with my stepson a bunch. We played basketball almost every day. I did a lot of deep cleaning of the house. There was all of that stuff too. But I really got to focus on me and my health. And when I went back to the corporate gym, when they brought me back 3 months later, I just felt the best I had ever felt. I wasn't getting bloated as much anymore. My skin cleared up. My acne was just gone. I wasn't having the painful cramps. I was actually able to sleep through the night. All of these symptoms that I thought were just normal were all of a sudden gone. And the second I started back at work with the high stress, the high, like the sales environment, all of my symptoms started coming back. I started breaking out again. My sleep issues started up again. My bad periods started up again. My heart rate was starting to get a little bit funky again. After about 6 months of that, my husband looked at me and he was like, "When are you going to quit this job? This is like it's detrimental to your health at this point." And I was losing hair. I was stressed. I was basically sleeping through the weekends because I was like just so exhausted and my body was just uncomfortable. And after that 6 months, it took me about another 3 months, I would say, to actually decide to leave my job. But then I didn't leave it right away. I was planning for 3 months of how to leave and what I was going to do next. But I knew because of my mental health and my physical health, I absolutely needed to go. This wasn't the place for me anymore. This place that I had loved to be in, really was motivated by, I just needed to get out of there. I waited 3 more months, after scheming and planning in my head of like, what's next? What am I going to do? Do I want to start a business? Do I want to go back to corporate America? What is my next step? And finally, I just took the jump. I remember it was spring break. We always go to an NBA stadium over spring break with my stepson. And I knew like I took that week off as like PTO. And I was like, okay, that following Monday, I'm going to go in, I'm going to quit, and that's going to be it. I'm going to try to start my own business. Let's try this. And I was terrified. I actually almost threw up when I quit that job. But I do want to say that that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me was being in that uncomfortable situation, because then it helps me go back to focusing on those things that I could for the 3 months I was furloughed, and even for those several months between September 2019 to being furloughed in March of 2020. What I focused on and then I just took into my new life as a solopreneur, and it really did help me reevaluate things, adjust things, and make sure to manage all of my symptoms. I am here to say that yes, you can totally go on birth control. I am not against medication whatsoever. That's between you and your doctor. But for me, it just was not it. It wasn't the thing. And so what I really valued was having the option to use my own lifestyle, how I eat, how I move my body, everything that I do, how I sleep, how I manage my stress, what my day looks like, what my routine looks like. All of those things really helped me reverse my PCOS symptoms. And yes, you cannot actually cure PCOS. However, I reversed all of my PCOS symptoms and I managed them. And there was a little oopsie, little slip up where my symptoms did flare up in late 2021. I'll talk about that in another video because there's a lot that goes into that one. But for me, that was also a wake-up call of you need to be prioritizing these things to help your symptoms because our bodies are so sensitive to everything that we're doing, to everything we're consuming, and it will either help us or hurt us. My wake-up call with being told to get on some medication, I am still very thankful for that doctor. I have never seen her again. I did not answer her call when she called to see if I wanted to have that prescription ordered. But that was a huge wake up call for me that we are our own advocates for our health. And yes, we doctors are very much needed, but there needs to be other people in this space that are also helping us with our nutrition, our fitness, our lifestyle, because medication can only take us so, but we have so much power over our body and how we feel, and we can do the rest. So, yes, I have PCOS and endometriosis. No, it does not define me. Yes, I have it 100% managed today. And I believe that any woman can do the same thing. It just takes really a customized plan and approach and looking at your specific symptoms and understanding what your body's telling you. So if you can relate to this, I just want you to know you are not alone. I see you. I hear you. If you want to tell me your story, I'm always open to it. Send me a message. And otherwise, that's all I got today. Cheers, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.